The Stone, A Persian Legend of the Magi by Diane Hoffmeyer, pictures by Jude Daly. In the year 1271, 17-year-old Marco Polo boarded his father's galley and sailed across out of the lagoons of Venice into the open sea. It was the start of a journey that took him across the Mediterranean, through Arabia and Persia, over the Great Salt Desert, across the highest mountains in the world, and on to China and the magnificent court of Kublai Khan, ruler of the mighty Mongol Empire. On his way, Marco Polo stopped in Jerusalem, at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where he was shown a lamp that had burned continuously for over 1,200 years. Marco Polo took some of the oil from the lamp as a gift for Kublai Khan. When he passed through the town of Sava in Persia, he came across 3 strange, ornate tombs with domed roofs. The people of Sava told Marco Polo that the names of the 3 men buried in these tombs were Balthazar, Melchior, and Jasper, and this is the story they went on to relate. Across the wind-swept plains of Persia, in the ancient town of Sava, stood a tower encrusted with turquoise tiles, filled with strange instruments, mysterious charts, and glowing flasks of potions. Each starry night, 3 men climbed to the top of the tower to explore the heavens through narrow stargazing tubes. Then they bent over their charts and plotted the positions of the stars they had seen. The people of Sava believed the stargazers were magicians, but Jasper, Melchior, and Balthazar were more than that. They were also healers and considered holy men. One evening, as the sky darkened, a star like no other star appeared in the west. It filled the sky with brilliant trails of fiery light. "A new planet! We've discovered a new planet," shouted Jasper as he caught the dazzling movement in his stargazing tube. No, Melchior pointed upward. "Look at its trails. It can only be a comet." Balthazar shook his head and measured its place in the heavens. "It is a mystery. We must consult our charts and the scrolls." They spent days searching feverishly through the scrolls and rolls of scribblings. At last they came across a strange legend telling of a baby whose birth would be announced by a star. The baby was a king who would bring justice and healing and peace to the world. "We must find the child and honor him," said Balthazar. "Let's take him a gift of gold," said Jasper. "If he is a king, he will gladly accept gold." "If he is a healer," said Melchior, "he will be pleased with ointment of myrrh." Balthazar shook his head. "We must give him a gift of holy incense, frankincense. If he accepts, then he is truly a holy man and will bring peace." So they set off across the desert, following the route of the merchants, to find the child. Each man carried a gift, carefully wrapped in his saddlebag. During the day, when scorching winds set dust devils whirling into the air, they rested in the shadow of their tent, eating dates and drinking dark, bitter herb tea. By night they journeyed under a sky that tossed out its milky pattern of stars like a flying carpet, and all the while the brilliant stars shimmered and swept across the heavens just ahead of them. At last the stars stood still. Beneath it they saw a simple shelter. Jasper wanted to be the first to present his gift. He jumped down from his camel and rushed into the shelter. But when he saw who was inside, he forgot about his gift and ran out, wide-eyed with excitement. "He's not a child. He's a young man like me." "That cannot be," said Melchior, pushing past him, entering the shelter. But he, too, came out quickly. "How strange. He's middle-aged, like me." Last of all, it was Balthazar's turn. But when he came out, he shook his head. "You're both wrong. He is old, like me." "He cannot be young, middle-aged, and old," said Jasper. "How can he seem different to each one of us?" asked Melchior. "It's a mystery. Let us go in and offer our gifts together," said Balthazar. So Jasper, Melchior, and Balthazar went into the shelter together, and they found that they had all been wrong. There before them was a young child with his mother. For a moment they stood in silence. Then they knelt down and laid their gifts in front of him. The young boy smiled and accepted all 3. Then he held out a small sealed box. "This is my gift," he said. Jasper stepped forward and clasped it tightly to his chest. In silence, they climbed onto their camels and journeyed back to Sava. But Jasper felt the weight of the unopened gift in his saddlebag. He grew impatient. Finally he cried, "Let's open it! Let me break the seal!" But Balthazar shook his head. "Be patient. Wait until we reach the tower." At long last they came to a well where merchants from far corners of the earth had gathered to water their camels. The camels were loaded with spices and silks, dark-dyed indigo cloth, cornelias and rubies the color of pomegranate seeds, glowing amber, brilliant blue beads of lazuli and rich tapestries. Yet all Jasper, Melchior, and Balthazar carried was the small, sealed box that Jasper clutched. "What's in your box?" asked one of the merchants. "It's a gift," said Jasper proudly. "What kind of gift?" asked the merchant. Jasper held the box to his ear and shook it gently. "I don't know." "Why don't you have a look?" said the merchant. "Perhaps it's gold." Jasper's fingers rubbed at the seal. "Yes," he said. "Yes, I will open it." And before Balthazar or Melchior could stop him, he broke the wax and lifted the lid. "A stone!" he cried. "It's only a stone!" "Is that all?" said the merchant, and he spat a trail of date pits into the sand in disgust. Melchior turned to Balthazar. "Why did he give us a stone?" he asked. "It must mean something." "The stone holds a mystery," answered Balthazar. "It's a useless stone," Jasper cried. "We can't even trade it in." And jumping up, he flung it down the well. Melchior watched it fall. "But why did he take our gifts and give us only a stone in return?" "Ah, now I see," said Balthazar. What do you see?" asked Jasper, peering down into the darkness of the well. Balthazar's eyes shone. "The child accepted all 3 of our gifts. He must be all 3 things." "What 3 things?" demanded Jasper. "The true king, the true healer, and the true Holy One." As Balthazar spoke, flames of fire suddenly shot from the well, and a great blaze of light filled the sky. The merchants came running from the shadows of their tents. "What is happening?" they asked, shielding their eyes from the brilliance. "It is our gift from the child," Balthazar announced, "a gift that will bring justice and healing and peace into the world. Our belief in this must be as strong as the stone and burn in us like fire." Wide-eyed, the merchants stared at the brightness. "Come," cried Balthazar, "come and share this. This gift is for everyone." So one by one, the merchants came forward and held their lamps high to be lit by the fiery light. Then each person carried the flame away, back to all the faraway places of the earth, for all mankind to share. Happy Epiphany, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this reading of The Stone, a Persian legend about the Magi. This story has a lot of similarities to our story in Matthew about the Magi, but of course it's a legend, or a story that's been passed down from generation to generation. So we're not sure that it has actual historical basis, but there's a lot that we can still learn from it. It's amazing how God can teach us things, even from a storybook. One of my favorite lines from this book says, "They carried it away to all the far places of the earth for all of mankind to share." This reminds me of the candle that we light in our godly play space each Sunday, to remind us that we're in a holy space and that the light of Christ is always with us. And remember that even though we change the light and it spreads out thinner and thinner, filling the room, that light is still with us. That light is within us, the light of Christ, and we can carry it out to all mankind. I hope that you carry the light of Christ with you out into the world on this Epiphany and every day. Bye, friends.